Welcome to Healthy Mama Hacks, a weekly mini podcast where I share my best tips for hacking your healthy mama life with simple tips for easier eating, cooking, and living a healthy mama life in 20-ish minutes, about the time it takes you to fold a load of laundry. So let's do this, mama. Hey friend, welcome back to Healthy Mama Hacks. I'm Kristin Dovbniak, your host. I am also a seasoned runner of over 17 years, and this series is all about running. I'm calling it the Mother Runner series, and I'm sharing something with you that I am just really passionate about, and that is getting out and going for a run, training for goals, whether it's a 5K, a 10K, or a marathon. I want to encourage you to go out and go on a run and give you some of my best tips and hacks for doing just that. So this is number 4 in our series. In the first episode, we talked about 10 tips to start running from a seasoned runner. In the second of the series, I talked about my favorite running gear. In last episode, I talked about a little bit more of a serious topic, not super serious, but we talked about fueling your runs. Today, I want to dive into a more lighthearted but necessary topic. Today, we're going to talk about making running fun. So how do we make running fun? You want to become a runner, but running can sometimes feel a little bit boring. It can feel a little bit monotonous. It might feel exciting in the beginning to get into running, but especially as you start working on upping the mileage, if you want to run a more endurance race, so something more than maybe 6 or 8 miles, we're talking 10 milers, half marathons, maybe ultra marathons. I haven't gotten to that point, but how do we make running fun? Because I'm such a big advocate of movement should be enjoyable. It might not always be easy, right? Your runs are not always going to be easy. Sometimes my runs are very hard, but I still enjoy each and every one of them in some way, and I want to encourage you to do the same. So I have 10 tips today for how to make running fun. So let's dive in. Tip number 1. Set a goal. Running is way more fun if you have something you are running towards. So I love to set small goals and big goals. I talked about this in the first episode of the series. It's important to set small goals like run a mile without stopping, and then a longer term goal like learn to run a 5K, or actually run a 5K, whether that is in a group or you just do it yourself. Have some sort of a goal. Usually I find it's most helpful to do a short-term goal, and you can work towards that and build upon that to your longer-term goal. When you have a goal you're working towards, each run is helping you work towards that goal. So it's way more fun to go out for a run when you're like, oh my gosh, I'm one step closer to my half marathon, than going, I'm just going out for another run. I'm kind of tired. This is hard. Now, if you're really tired, it's okay to not go for the run that day. But if you're working on getting into running, you want to become a runner, and you're sort of in that slog, have a goal, set a goal. Maybe it's running a 5K with a friend. Maybe it's running a 10K for charity. Whatever it might be, set a goal. Tip number 2, create a killer playlist. Or create more than one playlist. If you're like me, I have several running playlists for whatever mood I might be in. One of my favorite things to listen to when I'm running, actually, for those of you who don't know, I'm a huge Broadway nerd. I love theater, especially musical theater. I love listening to musical theater soundtracks when I'm running, especially if I've seen the musical before, and then I can sort of like play it in my head while I'm going on long runs. Maybe that seems sort of silly, but I absolutely love it. So some of my favorite ones are the Hamilton soundtrack, the Rent soundtrack. So much fun. But I love playlists. I love music, and I love all different types of music. So I have like a pump up playlist. I have a more punk rock playlist, which reminds me of being in high school. I have several playlists. So I will link those playlists because I use Spotify. You guys can listen to them. Just please do not make fun of me for my varied taste in music. There is Britney Spears. There is Green Day. There's a whole range of different genres on there. And some of them are explicit. I'm sorry, they just will be. So these are probably not playlists to play with your kids, but they're great for a run. You can always copy the songs and put them on a different playlist if there are some you don't like. But if you want to know what I listen to, I've got several. I'll link a few of them in the show notes. Create a killer playlist. Running to music. Maybe you don't like to run to music. Maybe you like to run to a podcast as well. I love running to podcasts. Something interesting to listen to when you're running, especially something to look forward to. I love saving some of my favorite podcasts to look forward to on longer runs. That will just make it that much more fun because you're like, oh my gosh, not only do I get to go for a run, but I also get to listen to whatever podcast it might be. Tip number 3 is to run with a friend. I also mentioned this in the first episode in this series. It can help you to keep to a pace that's conversational, but running with a friend also makes it more fun. It's even more fun if you plan something after, like you're going to go to brunch or you're going to get a coffee or something like that after. But even just running with a friend, being able to chat about your week, being able to encourage each other as you go and stay at a conversational pace is great. I love running with friends. So run with a friend is a great way to make running more fun. Tip number 4, choose a topic to think on. If you're not interested in listening to music or a podcast, just choosing something to think about, maybe something you're looking forward to, plan a fun vacation in your head. I know this might seem like a funny tip, but as someone who has been running for over 15 years, sometimes you need to have a topic to think on. So let's see, some things that I have planned out. Vacations, little mini getaways with my husband, future races, meal plans, recipe ideas. I have planned out my daughter's nursery when I was pregnant. I've planned out layouts of our new apartments when we've moved. I've planned out outfit ideas. Okay. I love having something to think on when I'm running. And sometimes it's more serious. Sometimes it's like philosophical thoughts, right? But having something to think on, if you are not going to listen to music, or maybe you're not feeling like music is what you need, or maybe you want to listen to music in the background, but you still want to use running to sort of think on something. Running's been really helpful for me. I almost think of it as kind of a form of therapy. Obviously, it does not replace therapy, but it almost feels like a way for me to just be still with my thoughts and let my thoughts come and not feel judged by them. So I love running for that. So choose a topic to think on, whatever. Maybe it's lighthearted, right? Or maybe it's something more serious, but choose a topic to think on. If you're like, I don't know if music's going to do it for me today. I don't know if a podcast is going to do it for me today. Oftentimes I will listen to a podcast and then I will turn that podcast off, put on soft music, and just think about whatever the podcast topic was. If it was something that was really fascinating or something that I want to think deeper on. Tip number 5 is to buy something you look forward to running in. Wearing comfortable clothes is important. I talked about this in the series episode number 2 when I talked about wearing comfortable clothes. If you are uncomfortable in your clothes when you're running, it's going to be way less fun. So buy something you look forward to running in. I have this great pair of my Asics GTs. These are actually GT 1000s, not GT 2000s. And they are bright green and purple, which are 2 of my favorite colors. Actually, my 2 favorite colors. And they're just so fun. I get excited to go for a run every time I put those fun shoes on. So buy something you look forward to running in. Obviously, this doesn't have to be too expensive. You don't have to buy something new every time you go for a run. But if you have a great hat that you love, if you've got a cool pair of neon shoes like I do, buy something you look forward to running in and make sure you're wearing comfortable clothes. It will make it more fun. Tip number 6. I talked about this in series number 1, but I want to remind you to run when you are energized. Not when I'm energized, unless it's the same time. I'm a morning runner. But run when you feel the most energized. It will be way more fun if you're running when you're feeling good instead of forcing yourself to run when you're tired or you're just lower energy. Maybe it's the afternoon for you. Like I mentioned, my husband's a cyclist and he likes riding in the afternoon. I like running in the morning. So run when you are the most energized. It will make it more fun. Tip number 7, run in a place that makes you happy. Change up your running routes if you need to run in places that make you happy. I have several running routes that I love here in Rhode Island. If you are local to the area, you can go ahead, shoot me a DM on Instagram, send me an email, send me a text. If you're one of my friends, I'll tell you what my favorite running routes are. But right now I'm running on a bike path, which is just beautiful. There are several parts of it there's lots of nature. It runs through a nature preserve. So I see birds. Sometimes I'll see little animals scurrying around. It goes by beautiful parts of the bay. So I get to see the ocean. It's wonderful. I love that route. And it just makes me happy running that way. So run in a place that makes you happy. Maybe your short runs are around the neighborhood like mine are. That's okay. But if you're doing something a little bit longer, and that could be 3 miles for you, or it could be 13, whatever that might be, run in a place that makes you happy. It will make your run so much better. Tip number 8. I feel like I need to say this 4 times. It's okay to be a fair weather runner. It's okay to be a fair weather runner. It's okay if you don't want to run in the rain. It's okay if you don't want to run in the cold. It's okay if you don't want to run in the snow. I don't. I have run in the rain before, but I don't run when it's super cold. I definitely don't run in the snow. And I generally don't run in the rain because I want to enjoy running. I run because I love it. I don't run for exercise. A side benefit to running is that it is exercise, and I don't have to do cardio because I went for a run. I run because I love it, and I want you to run because you love it too. Yes, there's a benefit, cardiovascular health, fantastic, but I want you to run for fun. So it is okay to be a fair weather runner. That's 3 times. It's okay to be a fair weather runner. Okay, tip number 9. I knew this was going to be a short episode, but hopefully this is helpful. Find joy in the little things about running. Running can be hard sometimes. It can be. It can be tough. We'll talk about that in the next tip. But it can be hard sometimes. Find joy in the little things that make you feel happy. The sound of just quiet around you and no tiny humans asking you questions and just your feet tapping on the pavement. The beautiful flowers that are blooming around you. There's one running route that I ran when we lived at a previous apartment 2 towns over. And there were these beautiful honeysuckle blossoms that would come out in the late spring, and they smelled so good, and they were so beautiful and yellow and white, and I loved running by those. And just one of those little things that just makes me happy. One of those reasons you want to run in a place that makes you happy. Notice the things around you that make you happy. Enjoy the fact that you get to listen to music or a podcast or a soundtrack, whatever it might be, or an audiobook. I forgot to mention that. Oh my gosh, audiobooks. I love listening to audiobooks when I podcast. I'm podcasting right now. When I run. Oh my gosh, how did I forget that? Find joy in the fact that you can uninterrupted listen to an audiobook or a podcast or some music. Find joy in the fact that you are getting your exercise done for the day and you're like, oh, check done. That's cool. I did that. Find joy in the little things that you enjoy about running, even on those days where you want to go for the run, but you also kind of don't. Find joy in the little things. And tip number 10, you're not going to like this one. You're not, but I want you to embrace the discomfort. Embrace the discomfort. There are going to be times, if you're training for something, where you're going to have runs that aren't great, but that's okay. Because every mile you run is 1 mile more that you have taught your body how to endure running. Every mile is a success, even if it doesn't feel great, even if you get blisters, even if you chafed a little bit. You got to buy the Mega Babe Thigh Rescue. I'm telling you, not every run is going to be the best run. Not every run is going to feel the greatest, but every mile is 1 mile closer to your goal, whatever your goal might be, whether it's working on pacing yourself, it's working on running a 5K, it's running a marathon, it's 1 mile closer to becoming the runner that you want to be. So embrace the discomfort. It's not always going to be great, but you're still working towards a goal, and you still went out and went for a run, and you can find joy in that. And last but not least, side tip, don't be afraid to slow down on the days that just aren't great, right? Where you're feeling like, oh no, I'm kind of chafing, or I've got a blister, or I'm way more tired because I went to bed too late last night, or the kids woke me up early, or I had one more glass of wine than I wanted to, or maybe you didn't fuel well the day before, whatever it might be. If you're not feeling that great, don't be afraid to slow down. Don't be afraid to sometimes cut your run short, right? Nobody's judging you. If you want to become a runner long-term, remember, it's about consistency, okay? And so just do your best, listen to your body, embrace the discomfort, and have fun. Okay, friends? So set a goal, create a killer playlist, load up your podcast queue, choose an awesome audiobook. I love listening to memoirs when I'm running. Run with a friend, choose a topic to think on if you're just feeling out of sorts mentally. Buy something you look forward to running in. Run when you are energized, not when somebody else tells you to run. Run in a place that makes you happy. Remember, it's okay to be a fair weather runner. Find joy in the little things about running, embrace the discomfort, and once again, get out there, go for a run, and have fun. Okay, friends, that's it for today's episode. I hope this was a little bit of encouragement for you today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you are enjoying this series. We still have one more episode in this series next week. If you have been enjoying it, if you found any tips that are helpful, please reach out to me over on Instagram at HealthyMamaChris. I can't wait to hear from you. And if I don't hear from you, I will catch you in the next episode. Happy running! Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Healthy Balanced Mama podcast. If you loved it, would you take a screenshot and share it with a friend over on Instagram and tag me in it? It helps me so much to know what you love and are taking away from each episode. If you really loved it, would you hop over to iTunes and give me a star rating and review? Every rating and review helps this podcast be seen and heard by more women who need to hear the message of balance and wellness without deprivation. It's the best free gift you could give me. And as a reminder, the information and opinions on this podcast are meant for education and inspiration only and are not to be taken as medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Please consult with a trusted practitioner before making any changes. Have a beautiful day, friend, and I'll see you in the next episode.